And good morning, everyone, or good evening, or good afternoon, or whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn, hanging out here in the woods in Northeast Pennsylvania with Sohn Social Media Solutions, and I'm so excited for today's show because there's actually a connection between how I met Jim and how I met our amazing guest today. But Jim, I'll let you take it away from here. Thanks so much, everyone.
Well, great to see you, Tim. And we've only got 6 days until we get to see each other in person for the third time in the 3 years of our show. So that's looking forward to that. We're going to be at Social Media Week Lima in Lima, Ohio, as much as I want to say Lima, because my mom is from Lima, Peru. It's a Lima, like a bean.
Like the bean.
Like the bean, yes. So maybe the bean is said wrong. Maybe it's a Lima bean. They just don't want to admit it.
Maybe.
But I digress. But no, excited to be here and really excited to talk with our guest. But yes, so Tim, do you want to go into the, I guess it's almost like, what do they call it? The Kevin Bacon thing, 6 degrees of separation or whatever it is.
Sure. So me and Jim met because of someone named Lindsay Anderson. She's an amazing online marketer, and Jim had brought, or Lindsay, who had another show called Marketing and Merlot with Lindsay Phillips a few years ago. They had brought Jim on spontaneously on their show, and he was talking about IGTV. I invited him onto my show called Social Media Success Live at the time. He talked about Google My Business, and the rest is history. Here we are. But I also know our guest today because of Lindsay Anderson as well, because she's part of one of her programs, and I hopped on a happy hour that Lindsay had recently, and CaSaundra was there as well. So welcome, CaSaundra.
Well, thank you. I am so honored to connect with both you and Jim. And so, yes, Lindsay is the reason we have all gotten together. She is my coach and my business bestie, I like to call her. And so you guys know how Lindsay is. She's just amazing. I absolutely love and adore her. And it was great connecting with you, Tim, because I knew I had access to Jim.
Right? I mean... That's important. I mean, Jim's amazing.
Oh, stop!
Yes, I think you guys are such a great, just a great show host, and super honored to be on your show today. Thank you.
Well, glad you could join us. Very exciting. So, CaSaundra, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you get to where you are today? Very interested to hear about that.
Well, thank you. It's been an interesting journey. I've always been attracted to television and film since I was a little girl. And in short, we did the 9 to 5, the career thing. And I think when I first came across YouTube, right, in 2007, at least for me, when I came across it, I was like, this is going to be a game changer. The industry in Hollywood are going to be at their wits' end because this is going to change everything. And so in short, I did the stop and the start again. You guys know what that's like, right? You start a show, you stop, you start again. And so
yes.
I made a super serious decision that I was going to launch my show in the first month of January 2019. And I looked up and it was March the 31st, 2019. And on a Sunday, and I was like, OMG, my goodness, I said that I was going to launch this show. And as the old folks say from the South, I went ahead and mashed the button and went live on my phone. And that was how the CaSaundra Jolliff show at that time, which is now CaSaundra Jolliff Live, got started back in 2019.
Wow.
And so my whole purpose is to work with purpose-driven entrepreneur women and a few good gents, a few good men, right? And helping them put their purpose on a platform who are online coaches so they can gain more visibility, increase their influence, their impact, and their profitable income. So I'm that person who loves to help people get their purpose on a platform.
That is amazing, CaSaundra. We're so excited you're here. We love live streaming, obviously. We've been doing this for almost 3 years. And we should thank everyone for tuning in. Nancy Barrows is here. She's excited. She says it's time. Yes. Brady is here. Thank you for being here, Brady. We have someone here from South Africa. We're global, Jim. Hi, Elise. Thanks for being here. Chris Stone is in the house. Chris created our amazing intro video. So thanks so much for being here, Chris. And he has a show with Jim, Dealcasters Live, right, Jim?
Yes, over on Amazon. And we just had a show Monday with Winnie's son, who, folks, in case you didn't know, Winnie's son will be our 3rd year anniversary show guest on the 18th of August. Next week, Tim and I will be in Lima. So we don't know who our guest is going to be. We don't even know the exact time, but our plan is to go live from Lima. So just so you guys know that.
I like that, live from Lima. You have the L and the L.
L for L.
Like that.
Yes. And Linda is here from the UK. Hey, Linda, she's one of the students in my live streaming course. Thanks for being here. Rose Horowitz is here. Thank you for tuning in from Connecticut. Kenny D is here. He's always savoring the flavor of the awesomeness in all the people. So thanks for being here. And everyone else who is here, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So today we're going to be talking about live streaming, your new chief marketing officer, which I'm really excited about. So today we're going to kind of break down the show into 2 segments. We're going to talk about live streaming intentions, like things that you should be focusing on, and then things to avoid when it comes to live streaming, right? Right, CaSaundra?
Absolutely. There are certain things you need to do and certain things you not need to do.
Exactly. So one of those things is clarity, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about clarity?
Yes, I think it goes back to, what your intentions are, of course, and you want to have a clarity of what your audience wants, especially those of you who are coaches, influencers. You need to know what your peeps, I call it, want. What is it they need? And also, what is it they want? And if you can bring the want and the need together, because usually people, sometimes they want what they want, and what they really do need, they want the want more than what they need. And you can bring in where the rubber meets the road and it comes together. That's impactful. So having clarity around what your intention is when you do your live. What do you want to see happen for them? And what do they want? Yeah. So just having clarity around that is really key.
Yes, definitely. And then Jim, do you want to take our next key point here?
Yeah. And so what do we mean by connection, CaSaundra?
Oh my gosh, that's when it's just like, I'm gonna give you a great example of that. When I came across Tim a few months ago in that credible algorithm, some kind of way I came across him, and there was something about him that was so genuine, and he was knowledgeable, but he was so down to earth. He was like, you know what? It's like you have your good neighbor or one of your besties. I instantly felt like a trust around him. And so there was an immediate connection for me, just hearing him talk and share, because I could see the intent of his heart towards his audience. And then here it is, I got a chance to see the 2 of you together last week, and I was like, OMG, my goodness, I want in with these guys. So connection to me is really key for your audience and for the people that you serve. It is something about when people come together and move forward in the same direction, or even if they're moving in kind of opposite direction, having something in common, once again, that intention and that commonality makes the difference.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Tim is an amazing human being. I mean, he's always
Stop making me blush, people.
Always looking out for others.
No, thank you.
He tried to look out for the cat the other day at the baseball game. The cat got away, so
I was too far away. I was in the upper deck. I just couldn't save it.
Wow, that was incredible. I saw that on television, and I was like, and I was thinking, I wonder if I know anybody that went there and saw that, and bam, look at it. Tim did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, connection is so key when it comes to live streaming, right? Like you're connecting with your audience, all of you who are thinking, all of you who I need more coffee. Shout out to Duncan. Thank you, all of you who are here, right? It's all about community. It's all about, I always say that live shows aren't about us. It's about everyone who's watching, right? We're doing the shows for the viewers, right, CaSaundra?
I agree. And you know, this is the thing I love about when we do live stream to our audience and to our community. I don't feel the distance between the screen because when I'm communicating with you, I'm already there. I'm in there in thought. I'm in there in spirit, and the physical aspect is just what it is. It's just physical, but that heart to heart and that mind connection, stellar. You got to have it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And yes, people are saying that they feel the same way about Jim. And I agree. Jim is an amazing human being. He is very humble and an amazing partner to have here. So
You guys make a great
shout out
team.
to Jim.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
We enjoy it. I mean, we've been doing this. You know, we wouldn't still be together if we didn't enjoy what we're doing together. So yeah, so I'm excited that you know, about next week for sure, because we actually get to hang out for a couple of days and not have to be volunteering like we have in the past, Tim.
Yeah, in the past, we've volunteered at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the last time that we saw each other was right before the pandemic, March of 2020, early March was when we last got to see each other. So it will be so
I've
exciting.
always wanted to go to one of those social media examiner, you know, events. So is it a must have for us live streamers and marketers? And what would you guys say?
I
What do you
think
think, Jim?
it's definitely a great place to connect with people. I think I
Mhm.
get more out of the networking than I necessarily do the education, because I feel like a lot of the stuff's going to change anyway. And I'll say I'm guilty. Tim probably isn't because he's a good student. As much as I have all the recordings, I rarely go back and watch all the recordings. I'll
I'm the
catch a
same
few
way.
live
I'm
things,
totally the same way.
but I think it's the networking of these in-person events that's so powerful. And that's what I'm looking forward to for next week as well.
That's awesome. That once again, connection, community and connection.
Right there. There's an example right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then consistency. I mean, we know a little bit about this, Jim, and CaSaundra, you do too, right?
You guys are, I can tell that you guys are so, I mean, just in your presentation and how you make, once again, how you make me feel on the other side of the screen. I can tell you guys are so consistent in how you show up for your community. And then when I got a chance to see how people were responding from just the promo post the other day, yesterday, I was like, wow, they have a real connection and community with their peeps because they're consistent. So once again, consistency for live streaming and showing up anytime on video is super important. It's a must have. And I've done both. I've been the one that's been guilty of not being consistent. And I've been challenged even more and challenged myself in being more consistent. But the consistency is the thing that does build the trust. And that makes the connection. And then when people can see your consistency, they're in, they're locked into you and locked into what you do in terms of how you serve them. So consistency is vital.
Yeah, and you know, we've had, you know, Tim, and I'm so glad that he's here today. You know, Tim's had a little bit of some health challenges lately, but you know, it's like we still make sure the show goes on. I mean, whether it's bringing in a guest co-host, or you know, a couple times I think I've made sure that you know, it might have been just me and the guest, but that's, I think for Tim and I, is so important. Or there's been a couple times I couldn't make it, but we feel like, you know, the show must go on. And I think Tim, I think maybe it's in the whole 3 years, we've maybe I'd say 3 times max where we haven't had a show for a week, and it was probably more because of a holiday, but even sometimes we've moved it a day, you know, before or after, so we could kinda keep on that schedule. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think it's probably been 2 or 3 times. And this is one of the great only one of the reasons I love having Jim here. And just in terms of having a co-host on your show with you, one reason I love it is because of accountability, right? If it's just you, maybe you're not having a good week, you're like, I'm not going to go live this week. You know, something horrible happened that week. You lost a client, something personal happened, right? And you're like, I'm just going to skip that week, right? But if you have a co-host that's, you know, there to cheer you on and encourage you to keep going and be there together, I think that makes it so much better.
I think that's phenomenal. It's interesting that you say that, because I probably do my show by myself, and I've been there where I'm like, oh my God, I can't do it today. There might be mindset space going on, or the tech demons show up, and, you know, I'm not super techie. The tech spirits are all over the place. And so I'm just like, oh, and then there are times where I just pioneer through it, even if I have tech challenges. But I will say this, one of the things that I've made a commitment to, and I've been collaborating with conversations with other guests, with other hosts that have their own show. And I'm like, listen, we need to be there for one another. Like, if I can't, for some reason, be on my show, you can come in just like they do, you know, on the late shows, the Tonight shows, they bring in a guest. And so that's really super key, you know, to keep that, your audience, you know, ready, and to have that expectation that you or someone representing you in that show is going to show up.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, and I think especially early on, it's even more important, because I know there's a couple comments about that, you know, it can be overblown, but I would say if you are not consistent, that audience, that community you're building, start to think that you're not serious. And then the other piece of that would be that they start to think, well, maybe they're not going to do this anymore. And they stop showing up at that time and place that they thought you were going to be. And so if you're starting out, you're not going to have a lot of people watching it first. And so it's kind of that field of dreams things. If you build it, they will come. Well, if you're not building it, they're not going to come.
They're not going to come. And you're right. That consistency is so critical. And that's why I share with people who are doing shows now, have a backup, like pre-record stuff. That way, when you need to you know, pre-record something fresh, bring on another person in your stead, or, you know, do a whole old school rerun, like reruns a really great episode that everybody responded to, because that makes the difference. And yet you still are being consistent.
That's true. And StreamYard, the platform that we use for this show, actually just released a feature where you could pre-record, for example, a show in StreamYard, and then you could launch it as if it's live. Now, it's not the ideal situation all the time, because you want to have that engagement live, right? Exactly. But if you're in a pinch and you have something pre-recorded and you could show it, you want to be clear that it's not actually live, right? You want to say in the wording that it's not, because certain platforms have rules about that. But that is a new feature that StreamYard, that we use every week to produce our show, just released. So that's pretty exciting.
I noticed. I use StreamYard as well, so that's good to know that they got that new feature. I saw a highlight about that, and I was like, I need to do that. You know, I need to create a free show and test that. Yeah, absolutely.
For sure. All right. Well, we're going to take a 15-second break, speaking of StreamYard, for a message from StreamYard, which we use every week to produce the show. So we will be right back in 15 seconds. Don't go anywhere. And we are back. We're back on the Tim and Jim show with CaSaundra Jolliff. Did I say that right?
Yes.
All right. And today we're talking all about live streaming. And Jim, could you take away our next topic here we're talking about?
One of the most important things I think that businesses struggle with is, how do they create conversion through live streaming?
I think the one thing is that, once again, those key things that I talked about before is, you know, showing up, consistency, serving your community, you know, your super fans, and being of service, but also making, we're in business to serve, and through that serving, that there's a exchange, through currency, but there's also other exchanges, and not just exclusively a currency. So conversions happen as exchange of people wanting to work with you. That's one way of conversions. And I find out that the more that I've been consistent and serving my viewers in the community, opportunities are like opening up. And I mean, you guys know this yourselves. You're not even looking for it, and it's coming at you. And so that's a form of conversion. You're getting new business, you're getting on the opportunity to be on incredible platforms like the one that you hear today with you guys in your show. And that's another form of what? Conversion. It's another form of collaboration. And so from there, if you have an offer, and most of us do in business, of service or product or service, that leads to, currency conversion. And so there's various ways of how you can see conversion, but that's one of them. And so that's one of the keys that, we're in business for, to serve and to have a profitable business.
That's a great point. I know. I think, Tim, we've both seen and saw this a little bit more, at least in person, when I would go out to networking events. Is people are watching you even when you don't realize they're watching you, and they'd be like, "Wow, I really love your show. Love what you guys are doing," and you're just kind of like, "Wow." So as much as, and that kind of goes back to the consistency piece as well, or people think they see you all the time, right? It's kind of that Jedi mind trick of, because we're live every week, and they see all our stuff. And then because we're multi-streaming, right? They see us everywhere. So hopefully they're not having nightmares.
And I think the other part of the conversion is that when we are doing our, when we're doing our shows and we're doing our live streaming, making that connection, the whole part of conversion, it just has other values attached to it besides the financial. And this right here is conversion. The fact that you and I all three of us are on here, there is a reason why that conversion came through differently through my connection with Tim, and now I have a connection with Jim. That's conversion in and of itself as well.
Definitely.
That's so true. And Linda, who's one of my live streaming students, she says when she does a live, she always offers a free download. And I know she uses chatbots to do this, and she has a lot of success with chatbots, and she provides these guides, and then people sign up for her email list, and then, she can continue to nurture that relationship down the road.
That's pretty cool, Linda. You have to teach me that one.
Yeah, exactly. I think one of the things, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just going to say the other part to conversion is just your personality. That brings conversion, and showing up and being who you are. This is what I love about live streaming and having a live stream show, is that we get the opportunity to define who we are in our own, own way of doing it. And we don't have to be the cookie cutter shows that you see. You get to bring your own personality to your audience. And that, once again, brings conversion as well.
That's so true. And that kind of leads into the next topic, which is call to actions. And I know sometimes at first when you're starting to go live, right, especially if you're trying to get somebody like to sign up for your course, or like you're asking people to do something, right? You want to show up genuine, but you don't want to be a salesy weirdo either, right, CaSaundra?
No, you don't want to be salesish. Who wants to be sold? Yeah. It goes back to being authentic. Bring your personality, bring your expertise, and ask. You have to do your call to action, because that's still, once again, part of serving. It's part of service. So don't be afraid to have your call to action.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. How about for you, CaSaundra? What have been some calls to action that you use on live shows for yourself?
For myself, one of the things that I use is that I'm always wanting people for me to find out where they're from. And I love I love my national audience, but I really also enjoy my international audience. I want to know, where are they from? What part of the world are you in? It gives me an opportunity, even sometimes after doing the show, I do something called the after set. I didn't start off doing that, but it was like the show after the show. I was just trying to chill out with people afterwards, and then they thought I was still doing a show, and I'm like, but the call to action that I gave there is that, hey, join me after the show. I just want to hang out with you. And even in that just hanging out with people on, which I created once again, and the after set came in, just a little quick story there, is this is a little old school, y'all. But if you grew up in the 70s and 80s and you went out and you went to the club or went to the dance, and, after it closed, you want to hang out with your buddies or your friends, or and dance a little more. They had a place that either you went to somebody's house and you went down in real estate, we call it the lower level, but old school was the basement. and you turned and you played your music, and they called that the after set. So part of what I do is say, hey guys, join me the after set. Y'all know I'm famished because I love to eat, but I never eat when I'm doing a show. But the call to action varies. And so one of the call to actions, that I'll be sharing today is that, hey, I'm going to be doing literally tomorrow my live stream workshop, Go Live Stream workshop for coaches. That's a part of the call to action there too.
Yes, absolutely. And CaSaundra will share a little bit more in a little bit about her workshop. So don't go anywhere, anybody, because you're not going to want to miss this for sure. So thank you everyone who's tuning in. We're so excited you're here. We're talking all about live streaming with CaSaundra Jolliff. And we are excited you're here. So please let us know. We have a few more minutes in the show, but let us know what questions you have about live streaming for her. CaSaundra's amazing. We're so excited she's here. So please take advantage of this opportunity to ask her questions. So now we're going to talk a little bit about things to avoid when live streaming, right? So here's one of them.
The inconsistency. We talked about that earlier.
We did.
The inconsistency, it does. It either makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. It creates some doubt about trust. Is this person going to show up? How often are they going to show up? And how are they going to show up? So that right there is something that if you struggle with that, then you got to turn that baby around, because that right there will have your show go down the tubes. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think it's so important to watch out for this, because it's like you're making an excuse, right? Sometimes it may be mind junk, and I think, like Tim said earlier, that's why it's important, even if it's not a co-host, to have some sort of accountability partner to keep you pushing forward, and that's where a coach comes into play, right? I mean, a lot of people, I'm always surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be, because I was one of these people before. Uh, you've got to have a coach in anything you do to get better, even as a speaker, right? Whether it's Toastmasters, whether it's National Speakers Association, there are people there that are going to help you get better. With live streaming, right? Tim and I are part of groups where we learn from other people how to get better. So it's the same thing. If you want people to listen to you, you got to be consistent. You got to bring your best energy. And if you're not, they're just going to think that you're not serious, and they're going to go somewhere else.
Exactly. So that's one of the key things there. Absolutely.
Yes, and Nancy is already inspired by you. She already sent you a connection request. So
wonderful. Absolutely, Nancy. I'm going to say yes and mash the button. Yes.
Vinay has a question. He says he has a website with 10,000 people who visit his website per day. He's in India. How can live streaming help him?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, it's great that you got 10,000 people every day watching you, showing up. But live streaming, to me, it is what I said the title is. It is your new chief marketing officer. And so you want to strategically get in front of your audience and serve. And here's the thing. bring the business side of things, but also let people in on a little bit of your personal space, and of course, be wise in that. But live streaming, when people are able to see just another side of you in live streaming, that will increase your views, that will increase people's shares, and before you know it, doors of opportunity will open up to you. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so Jim, do you want to take this next thing to avoid?
Oh my gosh. How do we not procrastinate?
OMG, my goodness. Well, let's talk about that. Procrastination is really just fear. It's just, it's the best buddy to self-sabotage. And the best thing to do, guys, is I like what Joyce Meyer said, which was so freeing to me when I first heard this. And for whatever reason, it made so much sense. And that was, do it afraid. Do it afraid. When people are procrastinating, it's a mindset issue. It's a mindset block. And I have been there, done that. I have the t-shirt, I have the belt, I got the hat, I got the stilettos to show for it. Because outgoing as I am, there are moments where I was just afraid to go live. And either it was my content, I didn't feel like my content was on point. I tried to make sure my surrounding, I'm in a different location today, but I tried to make sure my surrounding was on point. But procrastination, it is really the thing that will kill your business and destroy relationships. So muster through it, do it afraid, do it when you're, and do it when you don't. And once again, I love what Jim said is accountability. Who are you accountable to? Like I have a major friend out in California. He's a comedian. He's a business guy, but he is so on me like that, and he does not let up. I mean, and I appreciate that. He kicks me in the biscuits. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he's like, CaSaundra, you've got too much in you. You need to, up level. You need to do more. You need to bring your show up more. And so before that, it was procrastination. See what I mean? Procrastination station. Okay with making mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Perfectionism will take it away as well. So I think that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about, I think, on there is the procrastination piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of goes back to this idea of having an accountability partner, right? That could really help you, or having a co-host on your show. Or even if it's just, if you have a guest on the show, right? You really don't want to disappoint them. Now, if you're having health challenges, or sometimes you just need a day for yourself, right? Sometimes you do. And also I've seen people, and I've done this myself, where I've had multiple shows. I still work on multiple shows, but live stream burnout is real, right? If you go too hard, too much, too fast, that can burn out. And sometimes you just need a day for yourself. And that's okay every so often. But if you have a guest, or if you have a co-host, or both, right, then that makes it so much like you want to be there. And you also want to be there for your community, right? When you show up, your community is there as you grow it. Right, CaSaundra, and that helps too, I think, as well.
It does, and procrastination is really just another form of self-sabotage.
Good transition.
And it really is. It's just another form of self-sabotage, and it's not just self-sabotage for you. Your impact. You're actually giving another sabotage to your audience. You're giving another sabotage to your clients and your community. So those are things you got to think about and muster through. It happens to everybody. You don't have to feel guilty about it or anything like that, but you do have to own it. And once again, I think it goes back to what Jim and Tim have talked about. You got to have accountability and own it. And so, yes, I am Lindsay. Oh my gosh. Her little footprints are in the back of my biscuits. I mean, she's kicking me in the rear. She's like, CaSaundra, you can do this. And she's been a big encouragement, just on the professional side, as well as a good friend and a coach. And so it's essential in business. You just got to have it.
Well, and I think too, because we've been talking about live streaming, when it comes to self-sabotage, Chris Stone and I were talking about this the other day. I'm in my mid 50s, and to hear people make this excuse of like, oh, I can't do this. No, you can. You're choosing not to, right? I can't go live. We all have to start. Like, we didn't all come out of the womb walking and talking and chewing gum. You just have to do it and stop making excuses, right? It's also, you're procrastinating, like, oh, I don't want to get in front of my camera and get comfortable. I don't like the sound of my voice, or
The
there's
background.
so many, right? Exactly. So many excuses. Just do
But
it.
just do it. And that's how you move forward with this. You just do it. It's what Nike said, just do it. And that's really the key. And so I just encourage people to muster through it. And it's just part of the process. And once again, it's the mindset.
That's so true. That's so true. And then also, I've seen this idea so much, CaSaundra, of people not starting because they're perfectionists, right? They want everything to be perfect. They want their lighting to be perfect. They want to have all the tech. They want to make sure. And live, right? The internet could go out. So many things could happen, right? And so talk a little bit about perfectionism.
That one, I don't know which one is worse. The twin of, procrastination. I really think it's triplets. I think it's perfectionism, self-sabotage,
Yes.
and procrastination. Those are the triplets. And perfectionism is a sneaky one, because we'll use the word of excellence. I want to be excellent, and my show's got to be this, and my show's got to be that, and I got to have this, and I got to write that, do that. Once again, that's just another little pretty word for fear. Right. Perfectionism is fear. And it's really, a person doesn't mean to be, these are my words, this is just my thoughts. If you don't resonate with it, I get it. But it's really a form of selfishness to your audience, because you're there to serve, and you have what they want. You have what they need. That's why they're connecting with you. That's why they want to work with you. That's why they're showing up every week and sharing your lives and your broadcasts and rebroadcasting and telling more people about you, is because they trust you and they want more. But when we allow that mindset of perfectionism to come in, and you got to have this, and I don't like the sound of my voice, like you said, Jim, or I don't like the way I look or my background. Perfectionism is one of the best ways to kill a show. They're all cousins. Inconsistency, they're all cousins. And so you just got to do it and use. And as my grandmother said to me, and I didn't understand this as a little girl, but she would always say, use what you got. Use what you got. And I thought to myself, and these are my words that I said, not the best English, but this is what I said. I said, we ain't got nothing. And she said, use what you got. And it wasn't until I was 29 when I realized that I had a voice, that I was impacted by a man named Les Brown 5 years prior in Los Angeles when I was living there at that time. And then I saw this man and I said, I don't know what he's doing, but I can do that. But fast forward, it wasn't until 5 years later that I launched my speaking career. And what did I use? My voice, the very thing that I felt like people was silencing, including myself. So perfectionism is just another joker that tries to keep you from not using your brilliance to serve others.
Yeah. One of my favorite phrases, and I learned this from a thing I went to for Kelly Roach, was the P in perfection is poison.
Ooh, yes, indeed.
It's so poison. Because it does. It stops us from doing so many things. I mean, when you think of all these people that the reason they're not doing their YouTube channel is because, well, I have to do this video and I've got to have everything just right, or I'm not going to, do an Instagram live or an Instagram story because everything's got to be just perfect. No, it doesn't. I think that's the beauty of live streaming is there's no editing going on here. It is what it
What it
is.
is. That's so true. And then that's what I love about it because it gives me a break from the perfectionism. And I've had to work through that process. And you all will have to do it too. Whether you're doing it right now with your shows or will be doing it in the future, you're gonna have to work through that. And the key about that is when I make mistakes, like I get tongue twisted and tongue tied and I say the wrong thing or something around me falls or any, just like a moment ago, and that was zooming around me. But I went like this. I mean, things happen. And what people want is authenticity. Gosh, I'm so surprised I got that name right, pronunciation right, because I chop it up. But I've learned through this process that you got to give yourself grace. You got to give yourself some grace when you're doing this because you're learning. You're going to screw it up. It's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great broadcast. But keep moving forward. Silence the doubts.
I love that. I love that. And so many people in the comments are finding your information so useful and
Wonderful.
and helping them get past the fear of live video. So that's amazing. So CaSaundra, we're so happy that you're here today. Tell us a little bit about, you have a workshop coming up so soon.
Yes.
Tell us about your workshop.
It is the Go live streaming workshop for coaches. And this is to really help you, those of you who want to launch your show or because not everybody wants to launch their show, right? If you're a coach, but you want to be on other platforms like this amazing show. And so that gives you an opportunity to be on someone else's show without the responsibility behind the scenes to make the show happen, right? And the front of the scenes to make the show happen. But you can utilize that to grow your business, to impact your audience, and to scale your business. And so tomorrow it goes down. And I'm super stoked about it. Tomorrow at Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard. Of course, that's 3 o'clock East Coast. And then, of course, West Coast, that's 12 o'clock in the mountain. You guys know you're number one. 1 p.m. And God knows who else around the world. And this is a international, of course, that's the beauty of live stream, right, guys? We got people all over the world that we're making and having relationships with. And so it goes down tomorrow. And if you want to go ahead and join me tomorrow, go right to CaSaundra register right now, do it today. And I will see you guys tomorrow. And we're going to have a phenomenal, impactful time. And I'm looking forward to serving you all and being there for you. And it's going to be fun. You can tell, right? You can tell, right?
Absolutely. I just love your energy, CaSaundra. It's bouncing off the screen and it's getting me motivated. I know it's getting you motivated, Jim, right?
Yes. And Rose has a quick question too before we close out. What are some there you go. What are some ways to start getting emails for the people watching your live stream?
Yes. Okay. A good way to do that is, once again, make some type of call to action. If those of us who are coaches, you got to have some type of lead magnet and give some of your best materials to your people, right? And that's just one way of either giving a material. Perhaps every once in a while, do like and this is something that I've been thinking about, but I'm going to actually do this. I'm taking a risk, but I'm going to go for it. And that is, I'm like going to bring my guests live on my show. Like people, when I mean guests, my loyal viewers who show up, I just want to bring them spontaneously on doing a live. Another way to do that, of course, if you have some other type of opt-in or lead magnet, such as a video series or guys, whatever you need to do to get people to work with you, maybe a free chat, a free session of engagement with you. So definitely have something of a good exchange of value to exchange and offer them. Absolutely. Has to be value.
Absolutely. And I love that idea of bringing your loyal viewers on the show sometimes, right? Or even if you... or even sometimes to bring guests on live to ask questions, right? Or another possibility that I've seen other shows do is if somebody might not be there live for the show, you could have them submit a pre-recorded video, right? To submit questions as well. It just adds that much more energy and engagement to the show, right, CaSaundra?
Oh, absolutely. This is why I love you guys. This is why I
We love you.
This is why I love you. I'm not a singer, I'm a dancer, but I just want to sing that. I just wanted to let you know. And then the other piece is I just want to give a quick shout out to Mitzi. Mitzi signed up for my workshop. We met about a month ago and we just connected, and she's here in the Dallas area. And of course, it doesn't matter where part of the world you is, she's going to be there tomorrow. So thank you for taking out the time to join Tim and Jim show. Thank you, Mitzi.
Awesome.
Yes, awesome. So Jim, we're going to see each other in person next week.
Yes.
So
live from Lima.
Like in person, so like peopling.
There won't be this little green bar between us.
Okay, so now what is Lima again? I'm just because I need to be there next year. If you guys are going, I gotta know because I look up to you guys.
Jessica Phillips, the owner of Now Marketing Group, holds one of the most amazing conferences, not only in the Midwest, but probably in the country. It's an intimate gathering of about 200 to 300 people. It's 2 days, Social Media Week Lima, and she has some amazing speakers, people like Brian Fanzo, Angus Nelson, Troy Sandage, Tim and I even get to run a couple table talks, so we're excited about that as well. But just a great way to connect. I mean, Judy Fox, Christine Gritmon. I mean, I just can't wait. It's going to be a great time. You got to go.
I love it. I'm going. You guys have convinced me. So next year.
Yes, put it on the calendar.
Yes, indeed.
Awesome. And we're also looking forward to, there's been so many people that have been on this show that will be there in person, right, Jim? That we'll actually get to see in real life.
That'll be cool. Well, you guys got to, excuse me, you got to take pictures. You see what happens, guys? You see what happens?
Don't worry. Don't worry. Well, thank you so much, CaSaundra. This has been so much fun, and you've provided so much value to our audience. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. This was truly an honor. It was truly a treat, and thank you for entrusting me with your audience. It means a lot, and you guys are like my live streaming brothers now. You got another sister from another mother and father.
And Rose, who's in the comments, she actually just started her own live show called Women to Follow. So definitely check that out. She's been a student in my course as well, and she's amazing. So definitely connect with Rose.
Okay, Rose, you and I.
All right. Any parting words, Jim, before we bid our audience adieu?
Take it. If you're not live streaming yet, think about what CaSaundra said today. Get that mind junk out of your head, as my friend Chris would say, and just mash that button, as we say down here in the South.
See?
And we'll see you all next week on the Tim and Jim Show.
Absolutely. Thank you once again.
Thank y'all.